All right, folks. Hi again. And we had some problems with the original live stream. There was some problems I had on my end technically, and I don't know exactly what was happening. I'm going to have to learn my way around that. So yeah, tell me about
It just
it.
happened to me yesterday. I nearly like had a litter of kittens right there on air. If it wasn't for the godless Iowan, I would have freaked out.
Meow, meow, meow,
It's
meow.
like, is Faye having a litter of kittens? Yes.
Oh, for the love of Saint
I was
Gulick. I
robbed
mean,
of speech. At least you could talk.
okay, I'm having. Oh, I must be. Okay, I'm viewing myself in a. Oh, I see. I'm viewing myself in a very strange manner here. Um, well, yeah, I'm rather strange. I know that, but
You're lovely.
okay, we're gonna copy that baby. Hey, look at that. Hi, Christy, and hi, CH2517 Joan. How you doing? Um, and do I still have the other? No, I ended that, didn't I?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to live tweet. What am I talking about? Uh, yeah, okay. MSNBC, this isn't, guys. Okay, we're gonna share this baby, and we're gonna. Hi, Johnny. How you doing? Um,
So can they hear us all now?
how are you hearing us finally? I hope so. I mean, I'd really hate to see it not working or anything like that. I would cry.
Oh, no
Um,
crying. It's not allowed.
Great, perfect. Alrighty then. I am so sorry. Yeah, we've had a little technical issue over on my side. Yeah, one more time. I was trying to use OBS and I don't have the settings set up. You guys were hearing me, but you weren't hearing my panelists, the lovely ladies, Wonder Lady and Mrs. Snarky. So happily we've got that fixed, right? You hear
Yay!
it all? That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, everyone.
We love you.
Alrighty. So, for those joining late, this is on the Kavanaugh confirmation, and there were many things that were not working well when we were coming into this, and one after another things are coming up, and Republicans are still, still pushing for it. And I think Faye, I heard you try to say something.
I'm just going, eh.
Okay, that too. Yeah. hmm And yeah, unfortunately, I'm not able to show the clip I was hoping I could show. Um,
I can show it.
oh, that would be perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Let
The one with Kavanaugh's meltdown.
yeah. Let me
I
go
mean,
get.
if um, if he is confirmed through his meltdown, something is seriously wrong. Don't take that to mean that I don't believe that he, that he won't be confirmed. I mean, for all I know, he will be confirmed, and this is what really scares the hell out of me, um, because this is a constitutional crisis in the making, the likes of which I have not seen in my living memory in my lifetime. And I lived through Watergate. All right? I was
Yep.
writing letters to the editor while Watergate was going down. And that wasn't as bad as we have now. And I'm going to ask the original question I was going to ask when I had the idea of coming on and doing this, because it was right about the time that Christine Ford came forward with her allegations. Why is it that it takes allegations of sexual impropriety to get people's attention? Barely. If you remember Roy Moore, whose proclivities with young ladies, and when I say young ladies, I mean young ladies, were well known. It took that to barely get him defeated for the Senate. He was running for the open seat in the Alabama Senate that was vacated by Jeff Sessions. When there was, prior to that, his removal from the Alabama Supreme Court bench. Twice!
Mm.
Why weren't people looking at the... Wait a minute, what do we have here?
I have your clip.
Oh, danke schön. Danke schön.
But go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Yeah, and you've got that should be good enough reason to say this man is not going to make a good senator. He defied the rule of law in Alabama from the Supreme Court bench and was impeached over it. And yet he's running and is supported by Republicans. It was the allegations of impropriety that barely got him defeated. And here we are again with not with Jeff Sessions. I'm thinking too far ahead. With Brett Kavanaugh, where he was a shoo-in until Ford came forward, even though there were clear indications that he should not be confirmed to the bench. Now there are more and more coming. And with the meltdown, I'm hoping that that's the end of it. Can you roll it, Snarky?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups. This is a circus.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's a circus, but I don't think it's the kind of circus you think it is. How is what is that character? I do not think the word means what you think it means.
He sounds like a conspiracy theorist.
That's true, he does.
He sounds irrational.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder how much sauce he was on when he was sitting there.
Well, you know, he likes beer.
Yeah, we do know that. And we also know that he likes to lie.
Yes.
That one's one we want to talk about as soon as we finish this one. Because, well, why don't we pick it up right now? Was it today that the classmates of his came forward, or how is that, Snarky, that the statements that he never drank to excess were refuted?
Yeah. It's a totally different account of events and character than what he brought forth.
Mm-hmm. Now let's remember something about this. My understanding, anyway, and at least what I got from Maddow when I was listening to some of her clips, he stated that in the hearings, and they were entered into the congressional record, which means that he made those statements under pain of perjury. If they are indeed untrue, if he did indeed lie, he has perjured himself and has disqualified himself from consideration for the Supreme Court bench. Not only that, he has also exposed himself to articles of impeachment in his current DC appellate seat. Now let's see what they do.
Yeah. Do you want me to roll this clip as well about his dishonesty? Okay.
Oh, please go for it.
A Yale classmate claims Brett Kavanaugh is not telling the truth.
Oh, damn it. It's like, I don't know if I want to load or not. Oh, hell no.
Okay, that's a good one.
Sorry.
Sorry,
I don't have my pop-up thing on this browser. But yeah, One thing that's really interesting about all of this is that, for one, he was on a large list. I think it was at least 20 some odd people. I'm not sure on the number. But there was a large list of people that were given to the president from the group, the Federalists. So they could have had anyone from that list, but they want this guy.
Yes.
So it's kind of strange. But here's, yeah. I don't think this is the clip. After all of that.
This is what happens, guys, when the host takes 2 months off for bad behavior and stumbles back in.
Oh,
Not how that went down.
Tell you what, let me get a
Okay.
paper towel to blow my nose while we're working on
Well, I've
getting
got it.
that clip to roll.
I've got it.
Oh, yay.
Classmate claims Brett Kavanaugh is not telling the truth about his drinking habits in college. Chad Luddington says the judge was a heavy drinker and that he mischaracterized his conduct at Yale in his Senate testimony. Luddington admits he often drank with Kavanaugh. FEC filing showed Luddington made small contributions to Democratic candidates.
The drinking accusations could be a critical point for Jeff Flake, the Arizona senator, telling 60 Minutes Kavanaugh's nomination is done if he lied to the Judiciary Committee. Flake backed Kavanaugh in the committee vote, but said he would not vote for him on the Senate floor without an FBI investigation.
So,
Okay, now that's another fun thing as we're talking about the FBI investigation. My understanding was that the White House demanded a short investigation, and they stated what could be investigated and what couldn't. Now, who runs an investigation that way? A real one, at least.
someone who wants to push through their nominee.
That kind of thinks of that, doesn't it?
that's upsetting.
Because, yes, this is the problem, that should Kavanaugh be confirmed to the Supreme Court, which in my opinion, no way in absolute hell should he, we're stuck with him for maybe 35 years. The man is 53 years old. He's not old. He's got a lot of mileage left in him. And he could very likely screw us up at least beyond my tenure on this earth, if not forever. And I'll say it again. This is what happens when you stay home because your man got screwed over. Now, I'm going to admit that Bernie didn't get treated fairly, but he didn't get the nomination, guys. Hillary Clinton
we won't
did.
go into that. We won't.
Yeah, that's another one. I want to do another show on that one. Why we should go out and vote.
Right now, what matters is, the past is gone. All we can do with now is what we have now. And right now,
yes, thank you.
We have a SCOTUS nominee that is an atrocious fucktard. And I mean, though he can be impeached, especially if he is perjured. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about all three branches of government being run by these GOP people who.
And one of those three should not be run by anyone. I mean, the Supreme Court should be nonpartisan.
It should be. The judiciary is supposed to be nonpartisan, but it's obvious from the display here that this is a partisan issue.
Yeah.
So that alone raises red flags. And with all the reactions that I've seen from GOP members of Congress or Senate, like Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, and oh my God, John Kennedy, he was quoting Bible scripture as if that is appropriate.
And there's what worries me again is that Kavanaugh is not known for his advocacy of church-state separation. And a good segment of the country wants a theocracy anyway. I mean, we could very well be in some very, very serious trouble here. Us as atheists, and
that's
those who are not Christian, period, which is a nice sliver of the country, let's face it.
Yes.
And that is the main issue.
Exactly. So we need to do whatever it is we can, pragmatically, to stop this, to stop the theocratic mindset from having complete power. I mean, we have to, and I know that it seems dark and dreary and everything else, but nevertheless, she persisted.
Well, all I can say is I'm in this particular instance rather happy that I have more life behind me than ahead of me. I kind of feel for some of you folks who have a little more ahead of you than behind you.
Not to mention our kids.
Oh, hell yes.
I have a daughter and a son. So this is not the direction I would like to see the United States take.
And there's something I do need to remind everybody of. I've heard a lot of talk about let's get to November and it's going to be all right if we flip the Senate, if we flip the House, everything will be fine. Wait a minute. You see, in November we elect installment minute. No. You see, put it, however you want to put it, is not until January. Wait a minute. There's a problem here.
What's wrong?
Did you hear what I said earlier? Because I froze for a bit.
I heard you fine.
I heard you.
Okay, great. Okay, it was just me. That's fine. Okay. No, my watch page buffered on me, and so you got to the point about January.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna if we can flip, and that's I don't know if we can or not. I hope we can. We've still got that lame duck period of 2 months.
We can. We have the ability. The question is, will that happen? Is that what is going to be in the cards? And I think that if we continue to discuss these issues and highlight the importance of it, because it is important that we get out there and get out the vote, then, it's well worth the effort. I don't think we can afford to give up on in any stage in politics. Even if it were going very, very well and perfectly well, we still need to pay attention to these things, and we still need to look to the future and consider that.
And I think that's possibly okay. Somebody's trying to call me. Can you guys pick it up for a little bit? Because this is the second time this person's called. Oh my!
The whole reason.
Hello, how you doing?
The election was so dirty is
Say
because of the whole SCOTUS.
No, I'm on the air.
This is a Murphy's Law stream. Okay. This is a Murphy's Law kind of stream, guys. Thank you.
What can go wrong will go wrong.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying?
I was going to say the whole reason why the election got so dirty was because of the fact that there was a Supreme Court seat open.
Yes.
And it wasn't really, I mean, everyone, oh, it's so important, blah, 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 blah. And I had a bunch of people in my corner going, it's not important. What is more important is that Supreme Court seat and who puts that person in. That's why we needed to go with the more popular candidate rather than, I don't know, the more historical one.
In terms of the election of 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we should have, could have, would have,
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
coulda.
At this point, let's just consider that a lesson, because there was a lot of apathy. There was a lot of resistance. There was a lot of blue exit, I suppose, and for good reason. I understand the issues with that, but at this point, like, that's over. So I think we need to pay attention to now and the future, and that's just kind of. I think what's happened has happened, and we feel how we feel about it, and now is the time to really get out there and vote.
Hi, kids.
Hi.
I'm back.
But we have to do more than vote right now.
Yeah,
what
much
we need
more.
to do right now is to, it's very simple. What you do is you go to Google and you just type in the name of your state if you're a United States citizen, and you call up your representative and your senator. You can do this both through the same phone number, and but they have some sort of lackey answer the phone, and you talk to that lackey. And I do this once a week, so I'm pretty good at it by now.
Yeah, but you're in New York. You're not in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it's the same number.
No, in other words, you're not trying to call Patrick Toomey.
It's still the same thing. It's still the same because it's through the government.
Toomey's got my name written down somewhere. Toomey ignores me.
Yes, calling is very important. There's a lot of younger senators and representatives, and even at the state level, who are easier to access by email. I talk to my representative through email, and it goes a lot better. I can actually talk to him, and I know that it's him.
I mean, you could go through the whole drama thing of having a march or whatever, and I'm not putting down marches, but really, marches take money. They take effort.
Yes, they do.
They take coordination.
Coordination,
and more
especially.
importantly, they take money. They take you have to sign up for permits.
Yes, and you probably have to sign up for security.
Yeah, you have to sign up for a whole bunch of lovely things in order to have a march. And a march, they don't have your phone number. They don't know what state you're in. They don't know if they can take you seriously. They don't know if you're trolling. They don't know if you're actually there for your friend or if you actually believe in this stuff. But if you call them up and you talk to them and you go, "This is what I want. No Kavanaugh."
Yeah.
Or call them up and say, I want the rules for who is allowed to become a president to change, because this can't happen again.
Right. One thing I will say in terms of marches and stuff, and you made some very good points, Faye, but there are some people that can't afford to hold marches, and to those people, more power to you, because they do tend to rally and excite people to get out and vote, and I think that at least is kind of worth it.
I think the marches are great. They motivate young people, etc., etc.
Exactly.
But I can't afford to do it.
Right.
And not everyone has the health to participate.
Agreed.
And not every cause can raise the money in order to get people out there.
Right.
Right.
Agreed. But like I was saying, the vote right now is what really counts, and keeping these things, keep discussing these things, and direct the conversation in a way that we can actually do something very pragmatically. Because, and one thing that I do think is important is that we do change the way that we elect president because of what has happened.
Yes. Well, that's interesting. If you're referring to the Electoral College by any chance, I remember discussing the Electoral College and it's, that it really should be abolished when I was in high school. And I was in high school 44 years ago. So this is how things get done in that realm.
Yeah. The thing is, it hasn't been a talking point. It's usually not a contention thing in every election. People, what do you call it? They're so busy trying to live their lives and, I don't mean to compare. I know everyone doesn't have my life, but I'm assuming a lot of people are just week by week, we're struggling to get by. We're more worried about how we're throwing out our cat litter, how to do it, how, like blah, blah, blah. I need to remember light bulbs. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to make sure I have gas in the car rather than, oh, I need to worry about the electoral college. It's not going to come up for another 4 years. And it wasn't a problem last time. So even though it might be a problem next time, out of sight,
Yeah,
out
but
of mind.
well, that's the thing is that years ago we didn't have two second place presidents within what is it, 15 years?
Yeah, which is kind of my point.
Yeah.
It hasn't really been an ongoing issue repeatedly up until like lately.
And as far as the electoral college goes, yeah, it really skews the vote. I mean,
But
back before the size of the House was fixed, it might have been slightly different, but not anymore.
if you really do though want to make a difference, and I mean this, make your memes, write your letters, make your phone calls, write your emails, make sure you contact your representatives, but also write the same, let them know that you're sending the same letter to the press, and still
Yeah, that's
have
one
your
thing I hadn't
marches, and
thought of.
still wave your banners, and still put a sign on your lawn. Because you know what? It does help. The more visible and loud you are. I mean, Diana, when we were kids, we didn't have the internet.
Right.
We had no way of organizing these freaking things. We had no way of getting people to cooperate. If it wasn't in the news and if they didn't want to print it, we were silent.
It was just why I spent so much time writing letters to the editor. But I mean, even that takes time. In other words, the internet allows us to organize things so much more quickly because I would send a letter to the editor and it would be perhaps 4 or 5 days before it would be published.
It's harder for them to ignore us.
Yeah.
I mean, I just heard it on NPR of all places, where they're talking about what do you call it? People who are protesting companies and stuff like that on Twitter. They called it a Twitter storm. But yeah, at the same time, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's intimidating." Then you realize it's just a couple hundred people, and I'm sitting there going, "No, it's not a couple hundred people." I caught them downgrading the impact of the internet because
Yeah.
it's not Twitter. It doesn't just happen on Twitter. These backlashes, it leaks into Facebook. It leaks in all over the place. It doesn't just start on Twitter. It starts online, and it goes everywhere. And it comes from every country, and it becomes a talking point of the planet. So, I mean, anyone who thinks, oh, well, what I post online doesn't matter, it does. It does.
And we've just got to keep
Even
posting
if
it
you have
online.
if you even have 20 people on your Twitter and you post something and it gets retweeted by at least one person and it keeps going, you could travel the planet.
I know social media can be a little bit limited in the sense that we do self-select as far as our friends lists are concerned. Or well, Twitter is a little better, at least with the three of us, with the community in which we run. We get a little bit more exposure than let's say Joe Arsehole or Joanna whatever, who's just person on the street. They might have friends and family and a few other things, but even that is significant. Where we have a little bit more reach because we're public. It's really interesting when I think of this. I can I never think of myself this way, but I can refer to myself as a public figure. And the two of you, Snarky, Faye, of course we're public figures. We have the reach, and we've got to do something, especially.
I'm a private figure.
Oh,
Okay.
come on.
That was a bad joke.
Yes.
But no, I know what you mean. We have a little bit more of a following, and so it's important that we get out and we voice our concerns and be a part of the conversation, or at least get the conversation going.
Yeah, and
Let's make
another
a
thing
difference.
I suppose we can do is devote some of our online time to that. I mean, this is my first effort. I know I've had a little bit of interesting stuff going on here, but perhaps some more of this as we go. More of us talking about it means more people hear about it, I hope.
And don't be shamed into silence.
Yeah, that's another one.
You've got people who, and I understand it. Politics sucks. Nobody really likes talking about it. But you know what? Because of that, this kind of thing has become a reality. And
yes,
it's not so much for us. I mean, yes, it could change our lives within the next 4 years to something unrecognizable, to tell you the truth. And
oh,
what I
please,
mean
I don't
by
want to think
that,
about
by
it.
like if they start repealing things that we've been enjoying, certain freedoms, um, I don't want to go back to the 1940s.
Me neither.
Neither do I.
And I'll go kicking and screaming, and I'll probably end up in jail. But, which is great, because then I'll work for a private prison, and
Yeah, it'd be great for the economy. Maybe some of that wealth will trickle down.
Yeah,
oh,
then at least I'll have some freaking health care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing when you think that serial murderers and serial rapists get better health care than we do.
Well, the thing is, we don't have to be like my way or the highway with people, but to encourage the conversation, to keep asking questions, to be, oh really? Why are you supporting him on that? Why would you do that? Oh, what could come? What? Why not another candidate?
Yeah.
Why have someone so controversial? Why can't we have someone who's a little bit more like you can talk to your 12-year-old about this person without like having to explain too much?
Because it's important. It's important that we keep the mindset that they have. It's important to have those social mores that they have. The standards are being set by them in terms of how our society operates. And if women are kept subservient, then they can do whatever they want. And
yeah,
they can get away with treating us like we're cattle again.
Moo.
It's gonna be a little difficult.
Which,
because I mean, it's kind of hard to. I mean, it's happened in other countries. I mean, look at some of the Muslim countries where women could walk around in jeans and t-shirts, and now they have to wear the bag. I don't know what it's called, and I don't even want to try to. I guess that's it. I have.
There are several different names with several incarnations.
I call it the bag. Because it can't think of anything else except for a bag. You're hiding your identity, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, and this is all about women knowing their place.
But the thing is, I have a problem with that. And one thing is, our country is so into like, blah, 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 national security and all this other stuff. If I walked around in a ski mask, I'd be arrested.
Unless you're in Alaska, but yes.
No, in my area, in the winter when it's 19 below, if I walked around all the time in a ski mask, I'd be arrested, cold or not.
Right.
People like to see your face.
That was something I learned recently via a friend of mine, the girl who lives upstairs. We were going into a bank one day last winter, and she said, as we were going in, she said, "Wait a minute, let's stop here and let me get my scarf off so my face can be totally seen." And I'm, wait a minute, what's going on here? And she said, "Well, yeah, remember, I'm black, and as soon as a black person starts to hide their face, people get squirrely." And it's, I had never thought of that from my place of, I hate to use the word, but my place of privilege. I never thought of that.
Right, and a lot of people don't think about that. And that's one thing that it's been pervasive. It's been underneath the surface all along. It's a continuous cycle in America and probably the world, really, if we're honest. But in terms of American history, it's always been about keep these people in their place. They need to know their place, whether it's a minority, whether it's a Native Americans, whether it's women, whether it's anyone that's not cis white male. And
exactly. And if you really want to test your position, imagine yourself as the other group.
yeah, and that's why I like the moral thought experiment of the veil of ignorance, because it makes you consider the type of society that you want if you were born in the lowest tier, or at any stage, or at any
period of time.
Status. Yeah, at any status, at any race, in any period of time. What would you want to be born as? And what rights would you grant yourself born under any circumstance? So, and this is the one thing that I do want to highlight is this is America right now. This is where it's been under the surface, but this is the attitude of America. Women don't matter. We don't matter. And we need to start mattering. And I wanted to play this clip because, as you know, Jeff Flake is one of the controversial swing votes. So he came out and he said that he confirmed that he was going to vote to move forward and confirm Kavanaugh. Well, he was met in the elevator. And this was really a touching scene for me. And is it okay if I play it?
Oh, by all means, go for it.
Okay, let me get it.
Let's listen to Jeff Flake.
Yes, I understand that you said just last night you felt that the witness was in fact credible.
On Monday, I stood in front of your office with Addie Barkan. I told the story of my sexual assault. I told it because I recognized in Dr. Ford's story that she's telling the truth. What you are doing is allowing someone who actually violated a woman to sit in the Supreme Court. This is not tolerable. You have children in your family. Think about them. I have 2 children. I cannot imagine that for the next 50 years, they will have to have someone in the Supreme Court who has been accused of violating a young girl. What are you doing, sir?
I was actually assaulted and nobody believed me. I didn't tell anyone, and you're telling all women that they don't matter, that they should just stay quiet because if they tell you what happened to them, you're going to ignore them. That's what happened to me, and that's what you're telling all women in America, that they don't matter. They should just keep it to themselves because if they have told the truth, you're just going to help that man to power anyway. That's what you're telling all of these women. That's what you're telling me right now. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You're telling me that my assault doesn't matter, that what happened to me doesn't matter, and that you're going to let people who do these things into power. That's what you're telling me when you vote for him.
Yep.
Don't look away from me. Look at me and tell me that it doesn't matter what happened to me. That you'll let people like that go into the highest court of the land and tell everyone what they can do to their bodies.
And there you have it. Yeah.
I think that Brett Kavanaugh is telling the truth. Thank you. Do you?
Yep. That's how I feel. And that's how millions of us feel. looking at this and witnessing this atrocity. It's
infuriating.
It's been the tone ever since 2015. This has been the tone in politics.
Or at least it's been more obvious since 15, yes.
Yes.
And this is what we've got to do also, is one way or another, is flip for that reason. I know there are people who say that those who are running are still no good. Whatever choices you have, nobody is any good. But you've got to do something to keep the ship afloat.
That's why we have to not just care about who sits in the seat of POTUS.
Yep.
That's why it matters for people
Yes.
to get involved in backyard politics. We all sit there, we'll all have opinions about the economy and world politics, and it starts at home, people. It starts with who is running your town. It starts with your state government. People need to be more involved, and I'm not telling you how to vote, and I'm not telling you how to be involved, or what party to be involved, or how many parties they should be, or anything like that. Only thing I'm asking people to do is give a shit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And that's the difference between people standing there going, look at me when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Because the people have been looking away from politicians and letting them just do whatever because we're too desperate and scared and whatever, trying to live our lives.
Yep. It's easier to stick your head in the sand. And you notice he looked so ashamed. So ashamed of himself.
Should be. They all should be.
They know that this is wrong. They know it. They know the message it sends to women. They know that we feel like we don't matter because we don't.
And the trolls who sit there and go, oh well, blah blah blah, women are trying to take over. No, we're not. We're not trying to take over. We just want to be able to go to work without having our butts patted or our breasts grabbed.
Yeah.
We don't want to sit there and have our private parts discussed or guessed about while we're standing there.
Yeah.
Like, because it's all flirty fun. It's not a joke.
Well,
I'm just complimenting you.
Well, I want to see Donald Trump try to grab my crotch.
It's more than just, okay, yeah, we've got this Holy Bible thing. It's such a complicated thing, a multifaceted, complicated thing, and we're constantly infantilizing. Is that the word? Yeah. Probably.
What do you after?
Other people, whether it's, I mean, as long as it's other people and not ourselves. We always think that somebody else doesn't have a clue. Somebody else is dumb, but somebody else is like lacking in some way, and we're smarter, we're brighter, we're more together, we're. But it's the other group that doesn't have it. It doesn't even matter anymore, what skin color, blah blah blah. If it's politics, the other group is just evil, vile. No, we have to start talking to each other as if we're human beings.
Yes.
Absolute.
And the same thing goes with men and women. I mean, men, more often than not now, there are men out there who actually discuss things well with women.
Yes.
Yeah, that is amazing. Can you believe it?
I mean, is there room for improvement? Yeah, on both sides, because women are sexist too.
Indeed.
Because we are used to being the doormat. So we expect abuse. And if you expect abuse and you expect to be marginalized, that's how you will be treated.
Yeah. And speaking of, sort of in a roundabout way, has anybody seen the article from the font of all things journalistic, Yahoo News, where the headline reads, "Accelerated FBI investigation could lead to Kavanaugh confirmation vote this week." What I had heard earlier was they were trying to close it down by about now.
I know. I heard that last week about the confirmation vote. They're really trying to push it. I would be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and they did it in the middle of the night.
Yep.
Oh, it wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't.
And that's why you need to get on the phone if you're an American. And I hate to say it, and I don't want to see Twitter be a mess, but make your meme. Put the phone number out there. It's not that hard. I mean, I did it when it was the immigration for kids thing, and trying to protect families from being split apart. It's not that hard to find the information. In fact, I'm looking it up right now. It's part of getting it done. Because that phone call might be the difference between a vote in the middle of the night and us barely getting away from this guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay then.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to take a breath.
Yeah, I know. This is a highly charged.
I'm trying not to cry.
I'm beginning to wonder how much we want to go. Do we want to think about closing things down soon, or?
I have the number.
Oh, great. Let's go out with that.
Okay. You can reach U.S. representatives by calling 202-225-3121. That is both the U.S. representatives and the U.S. Senate.
Okay, so let's see.
And the alternative number is 202-224-3121.
That number again, 202-225-3121. Call now.
Amazing.
I still have it.
But it's not that hard to make that phone call, because okay, so you don't think it affects you. What if it affects your sister, your mother, your daughter, your granddaughter, your wife, you?
Mm-hmm.
What if it actually does affect you? What if you've never had to deal with, this sort of thing? What if it's something else? What if it's what do you call it? Allowing God in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you are okay with allowing God in the classroom?
Well, that's coming. That's coming very, very soon.
I would just like to say that if God exists and is omnipresent, then God's there anyway. Just saying.
Yep.
But, unless you don't believe that, then by all means.
Oh, Frustrated wants to talk about this with us.
I'm fine.
Yay. Oh, if we want to bring him on, that's fine.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love Frustrated.
Yes.
But the thing is, I mean, I know nobody thinks that one Supreme Court judge. I mean, can we go over the rules of when they leave office? Because as far as I know, it's retirement or death.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yes.
You are appointed. Let's try this again.
The life
You are
appointment.
appointed to the Supreme Court for life,
Yes, life
or until
appointment.
you decide you've had enough, or until the president talks you out of it to accept a ambassadorship to the UN so he can get his buddy in. Yeah, the stuff that's going on now isn't the first time we've had shady stuff going on. I was referring to Abe Fortas and Lyndon Johnson in 1965.
We have, oh, what's her name? I love her, and I can't think of her name because I'm so upset after listening to that one clip.
You talking
That
about
one, the one Supreme Court judge who would like to retire but she can't.
Ruth Ginsburg?
Ruth,
Yes.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah, Yeah, I know.
She'd love to retire, but she doesn't want to let us down.
Yeah.
That is totally amazing. That woman is fantastic. I don't want to think of how much strain it puts on her, because I mean she'd really like to retire, definitely. Yeah, Russ, take a look at your DM.
The thing is, Christy, I don't know your mom personally, but I know a lot of people like your mom who go, "Oh, the one vote won't matter, and the one phone call won't matter." It adds up, and technically, these people are supposed to be representing you. And if they don't know what you think, how can they represent you?
Yep, exactly. Hi, Russ.
It's all
Hey,
of
sweetie.
that's part of the process. Is you get the pastors to tell their congregations to call these people and let them know and write their angry letters and stuff like that, and they do that. But
Yep.
those of us who think that sensibility will ring out, we can just be chill and relax and not say anything. We're not heard because we're being quiet. So of course we're going to get ignored, and of course our position won't be represented. So we have to be a little louder. And I'm not talking about being rude to anybody. I'm just talking about like letting your representatives know, hey, by the way, that thing you said, I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I'd like to see is a little more actual assistance to the normal little person who doesn't have millions of dollars in the pocket, as far as making a run for an office. But we all know that it's all about money as far as running for a political office, and that kind of shuts out, like those of us who are in the panel, um, or others like us, when our voices are probably the voices we want to hear, rather than the voices of the moneyed people who can afford to run for office. But every time I've gone to groups asking, what should I do? What can I do? What help can I expect? All I get are requests for money. And that's not what I'm after.
Right? I'm definitely not after that either. So,
No.
so Russ, what did you have to say on the subject?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things
Out with
that I
it.
wanted to, one of the things that I said in the chat that I wanted to address now that I'm on here is, before anyone who comes across this stream later on down the road wants to pipe up with, but not all men.
Oh, please.
Who gives a fuck about all men? This is not a situation to be bringing up all men. This is a situation where women are being pretty much thrown on the back burner. And
Thank you.
it doesn't take a fucking genius to realize, treat somebody, with fucking respect. This is not a hard concept, and the fact that we can't realize that that women are on the back burner is a fucking problem, and it needs to be addressed immediately.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And
Yay, many much yays.
and I grew up in a household full of women. And so, I mean, this isn't, me trying to say, oh, like the whole entire, oh, well, I can't be racist, I have a black friend type of situation. This is I have 3 sisters, a mother. I grew up also with my aunt and my 2 female cousins. If anything were to happen to them, as far as what Kavanaugh's been, even if Kavanaugh, let's just go with the fact that he was accused of it. I believe he did it. But the fact that he was accused of it, just let someone be accused of being the attacker of any one of my female family, I would not hesitate to kill them. So this is something that doesn't just affect women. This affects society as a whole. And for anyone to think otherwise, you're a fucking idiot.
Yep. And when it comes to, men sharing their opinions on this, it's not that your opinion doesn't count. It does count. And I think that it kind of puts a wedge between us when you hear women say, oh, well, men shouldn't be talking about women's issues. Why not? It affects men too. It affects women and their family.
It really does. And just keep in mind one thing. If you think women are shamed when they are raped, imagine how men feel when they are raped.
Yes.
It is harder for a man to report a rape than a woman. I mean, it's awful, absolutely awful for a woman to go through the process.
So whenever you're talking about men who get raped, 9 times out of 10, when another man hears this, they don't automatically assume that the rapist was a male. They automatically think woman and man because of, that apparently that's the only kind of sex that happens. But
right, they don't think of the police officer that pulls you over on a dark road who has a gun, because that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happens to men, it is hardly ever reported.
Yeah, and the thing is I'm not saying that there isn't women raping men situations, because there most certainly is.
Oh, of course there certainly is.
However, whenever it does come to that specific situation, it is pressured upon by other men saying, "Oh, how can you be raped by a woman?" I mean, this is, you have to want sex all the time. And that's simply not the case. There's been several times I can guarantee you that I haven't had sex with my fiance because I didn't want sex. And there's been several times where I have wanted sex, but she doesn't, so I don't have sex. And I mean, this is just shit that happens. We don't always want sex. So when a woman forces herself upon you, and just FYI for anyone who thinks this, just because you get hard doesn't mean you want it.
Right.
Yeah.
I have been hard. As a matter of fact, my ex-wife told me one time that she tried to wake me up, and her best way that she could think of to wake me up was to jerk me off, and I stayed asleep. But I was hard. I was hard, but I was still asleep.
Yeah, it's just a natural. It's just a natural response to when that area gets touched.
Mm-hmm.
So
being hard does not equate to I want it.
Yeah.
Very true. And I do want to say I appreciate you coming here and talking about this stuff, because it's a really difficult topic, for one. And two, we need the support of men. We need
yes.
And that's why in the chat I use both the hashtags I believe women and I stand with women, because
Yes.
we are all humans on this planet, and we should look after one another.
Yes.
Regardless of age, sex, gender, whatever you want to call, whatever you want to put with that to identify that human, it doesn't matter. We are all still humans, and we should stand with each other.
Yes. Exactly.
It's a very difficult topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one that's very important right now. And
Yes.
and I think it's always going to remain important. This is something that we have to continually examine as human beings, because at any moment it can swing the other direction. And that's one thing that I do want to highlight about this entire situation with Kavanaugh and the politics in America right now, is that historically speaking, politics is a pendulum. It'll swing one way and then it'll swing the other way because of the force that, it's a responsive thing. Eventually, it'll get to where people just cannot take it anymore, and they will elect somebody who will completely, well, hopefully, undo a lot of the damage that is being done by this administration. However, there's some stuff like Supreme Court justice that is tough to undo. You really can't. There are some instances like impeachment that's an option, but it's really difficult. It's rarely been done. So we have to be very, very persistent, and we have to be very vocal about where we stand on these issues.
And we need to look up the process that
Yes.
exists, because we need to use the process that exists, and we need to work within the system.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because we don't like something doesn't mean we get to rewrite everything. And
Right.
what we need to have rewritten, we need to appeal for. We need to ask for changes.
And the only way to get said changes is if you know how the system works. And the only way to know how the system works is to learn it.
Yes, that's why an educated populace is so important, because if you don't know how the system operates.
And that's why education is attacked daily.
Yep.
Because they don't want an educated populace. It's one thing if we want to. It's one thing if we want to compete with other countries and get to the moon landing first. It's another thing if they want informed voters that are going to actually, like, I don't know, vote in productive ways that doesn't undermine their own rights.
Right.
The best way to combat a government is through knowledge. Because if you get the knowledge to know how the system works and how to work within the system, and then the government cannot shut you down and cannot work against you. And the thing is this isn't just a singular person type of thing. Everyone has to learn how the system works. Everyone has to learn how to manipulate it, so that way it can help fall in your favor. Knowledge is definitely the greatest and best tool there is to have.
One thing too I'd like to point out is we need to also pay attention to the gerrymandering.
Yep.
Because that is
of course.
That's how they fix elections. So we have to really maintain our focus there as well as everything
and
else.
Unfortunately, the way to do anything with that, we first have to take the districts such that we can redraw the boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be a lot of work that we have to do, and I certainly hope that this is one of the reasons. I certainly hope that Mr. Kavanaugh is not confirmed.
Right.
He's all on board with helping the gerrymandering process out to the point where we will never be able to have a decent majority or a voice anymore.
Well,
it's the judiciary that has a really big hand in these how these districts are drawn. So
yeah, we'll see Pennsylvania just a little while ago. I mean, the boundary redrawing that was recently done here was court ordered.
If you want to take some free courses in American civics, Khan Academy, KHAN Academy, has plenty of free online courses. You don't have to leave your home. You don't have to pay anything out, and you can actually take a course in these things with an instructor. They have videos, they have written documents, everything, testing, you name it.
Yeah,
It's a wonderful way to learn.
Mhm.
They have various different subjects, everything from like kindergarten stuff to nursing,
I just
anatomy,
got
and
done
physics.
yesterday. I just got done yesterday watching on YouTube under the same name, Khan Academy, a video on communism and Karl Marx.
Oh, so now you can answer SJ.
Oh, I've been able to answer her. I'm just getting every bit of information I possibly can. So that way I have it, because there is so much to this that no matter what angle they try to come at me with, because it's not just SJ, it's her professor friend who has a background in history. It's SJ, and his name on Twitter is Master Apologist.
You talking about Dean Esme?
No.
No, okay.
Master
Apologist.
Oh,
yes,
for the
he's
love of
on.
St. Gulag.
I know.
He's on. He's on Twitter under that handle, and it's going to be Saturday at 11 a.m. and
I
pretty
will
much
be there for you.
Well, thank you.
Same.
I don't go to anything SJ, but I will be there for you.
Well, thank you. Yes. One of the things I already know that they're going to come at me with is historically that communism has nothing but atheists in there, and actually that is factually incorrect. As a matter of fact, Lenin, who actually is the founder of modern day communism that we think of today, he was known for letting Christians within communism because that's what he did. He was okay with that. Marx himself was not a leader, so he has no say in who can and cannot be communist. And the idea of communism has gone as far back as the early Christian faith.
Yep.
During the founders. So during the founding priests and whatnot, and the very first Christians. So regardless, this is not a communism equates to atheist type of thing.
Do they really think that Jesus would be a capitalist?
Apparently so. I'm guessing most likely because of the one line of render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. That sounds almost kind of capitalist, if you will, but
yeah,
still,
but
he
give up
was
everything you have and donate it to the poor doesn't.
No, and neither does the fact that everyone who started following the teachings of Christ after Christ's quote unquote ascension, all of them, because communism, it's for anyone who doesn't know, communism itself is a socioeconomic ideal that was thought up by Karl Marx that pretty much has the setup for it is every piece of property is publicly owned and everybody works according to their abilities and their need, and that's how you get paid. But currency is not a thing. So in other words, you get paid in food or whatever according to what you can do and by your need of that specific item. So it was supposed to be, it's Karl Marx's idea of what a utopia would be like, pretty much. And so since the Romans owned the properties, there was no way for that specific part of the communism to be affected. But the whole entire idea of giving people the things that they need according to their needs and what they can do for the entire whole of the community is very, very much a communistic idea. So
Okay then.
this is gonna be incredibly fun. And I'm definitely gonna start this all off by defining these terms.
Good.
Communism and atheism.
Thank
Good.
you.
And
Not to
Alrighty,
be the
so that
harbinger of doom, but let's just also remember what happened with the last election with the Russian hacking. There are going to be
yes.
fake accounts saying crazy ass things. It's up to all of us to fact check a little bit harder.
Oh yeah.
So when it comes to this, I'm going to do both as far as when I go to define the terms, just to be 100% clear for everyone involved. I'm not only going to go with a very, very precise definition of both terms, but also the broadest definition to see if how the two, in both a broad sense and a more defined sense, could at all in any way, shape, or form equate to each other.
So yeah, that's one thing that's really important is to challenge. I think, but I'm not sure how to deal with like the trolls and stuff because sometimes the more you engage trolls, the more time that it takes away from you.
yeah, definitely, and you never know where they come from.
There's going to be a lot of misinformation. If you remember, there were people that were saying that you had to vote like a day after the election and stuff like that. There's all kinds of tricks that we need to look out for when it comes to this next election and elections that will follow.
We have some people who are naive who will believe it. Not all, just some.
So how do we combat this?
Putting out good information.
Yeah, that's the best we can do, really. I mean, just try to, if you want to put it that way, flood with good information and hope
but
that
don't
overtakes.
overflood because we don't want to oversaturate the ground and make people apathetic.
Hmm. I mean, some people are going to believe what they want to believe, no matter what, and we do have to understand that. And I think that's the way that it's so easy for fake news to take off. It is written, if you will, um, toward the proclivities of certain people, of certain groups of people. It's written to be what they will eat up in order to get the job done. And some of those people, you're just not going to change their mind. So you really need to bring new minds in as well.
Exactly. And, if people don't know where to vote, there are ways to call and check. You can always call your
I mean,
town.
all you have to do, really and truly, is go online and go to Google and type into the search bar, where is my polling place, and throw your zip code in.
Mm-hmm.
You will get it within milliseconds. I don't know how much more succinctly I can put it.
Nope, that's perfect because there are so many different ways to actually find out. Whether it's calling your town clerk, whether it's doing the Google searches. Diana said, yeah.
Yep.
It's really not that hard to fact check.
'Cause I'll do it right now. I mean, I know where my polling place is.
Or you can even type in when are the poll centers open, and they'll tell you the date and they'll tell you the times.
Yep. Staying informed is number one, I'd say.
And
if
here we go.
If you can, vote local politics as well.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because not only is it a proving ground for those who do intend to move up, things have to get done at the local level anyway.
Yep.
And you might as well elect good people to be city councilmen or mayors or that sort of thing. And, people who don't intend to go any further, you still have to get things done at home. And this is interesting. I just put in, where is my polling place? 15137. Yeah, I'm doxing myself. And the entire page that got returned is nothing but places I can go to find out where I should vote. I mean, here's one: polling places, addresses, and sample ballots, Allegheny County. Bingo. Look at that municipality name. How do you like that? You can even find your own municipality. And
if you keep going further, they'll show you on Google Maps.
As a matter of fact, let's do this.
Thank you,
I am
Google.
going to do that, and I'm okay. I'm not exactly. I don't remember which ward I'm in. It amazes me that there are actually 7 wards in this little township. Okay, we're gonna search. Okay, we've got here's a polling place address right here. It returned it. So really, all you needed to know your ward and district, but that's searchable as well.
And make sure ahead of time that you're registered. If you're
Oh,
not,
heck yes.
Google how to make sure that you're registered in your district. And
there are usually papers about how to do that at your local post office.
Yep.
You can get all the paperwork you need to register to vote through your local post office. And in my state, you have to have that done a year before election day.
Wow. In my state, you can register online.
Oh, I'm sorry, you had to declare a party for the primary a year before the primary.
Oh, yeah. They have different rules, I think, for primaries than they do
Right.
for general. And
every state has something different for the primary.
And there's something else. You need to recognize that some states have open primaries, other states have closed primaries. The reason I affiliated with a political party is that Pennsylvania has closed primaries. When I was registered as a libertarian, this was about 15 years ago, I was not able to vote in a primary because I was neither Democratic nor Republican. There were Democratic ballots, there were Republican ballots. That was it. So I decided that I was going to register as a Democrat because that was closest to my philosophy. And here I've been for the last some number of years. So, one has to remember the open primary, closed primary thing.
Yep.
And strategize, if you will, as to how you are going to vote. Voting your conscience, in quotes, isn't always the best way to go. And I think I might want to do this on a separate show because there's a lot that goes into it as far as voting and not voting and how you affiliate.
I'd like it if you would explain to me how to vote when nobody good is running.
Okay, yeah. Do we want to do that now, or do we want to do that in a separate show?
A separate show because
Okay, fine. We can do that.
This on Kavanaugh.
Because I've been involved in a discussion in several discussions about that, in fact. And I recognize the fact that in most races, nobody good is running. It's always a lesser of two evils or a least of many evils. And you have to figure out what you want to do. There are a couple people I'm thinking of asking to bring them on. One of them, at the very least, has a very, very, very crowded schedule. I don't know if he'd be able to make it. It would be great if he could, though.
But yeah. Sorry.
Okay, let's see now. Universal Basic Income. Okay, yeah. I lost the acronym there for a minute because I was thinking voting methods, and then I saw the UBI, and it's because I'd like.
Yeah, we're talking about all of that within the side chat.
Yeah, because I would also like to see things change as far as the way elections are conducted. First past the post isn't necessarily the best way to do it, but let's do that in another show.
Me personally, whatever show we do it on, I personally am a fan of there being actually no monetary system at all. That we do kind of work together to help one another out.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm trying to think now because I don't have my clock going. What's really great about OBS is you get that timer going, and you know to the hour, minute, and second how long you've been running. This has started streaming an hour ago, and I know it's more than that. I do want to keep it probably 90 minutes or less, such that people will actually come back and watch this.
Yeah, it's been about that.
I think we've made our point.
I was going to say, so shall we? Shall we have everybody plug themselves and anybody else they want to plug, and kind of close it down?
Sure.
Okay. How about you, Russ? What do you got going? Well, we know about some of it, but
yes. Make sure that y'all tune in on the Non Sequitur show on Saturday at 11 a.m. if you can, to watch me debate SJ and her professor friend who has a background in history on whether or not communism equates to atheism. And then after that is when I'll start getting videos back up and going.
Finally!
Yay! Many much yay! Okay.
I've been picking on this for a long time to make a fucking video.
Yep.
And with your voice chiming in, Snarky, how about you? What's up with you? Who are you? As Cy Strike would put it, who are you and what are you about?
I am Mrs. Snarky, and I'm about the snark. I have a YouTube channel. I talk about things I'm interested in, mostly not debunking, but challenging at least bad ideas, whether they be woo, new age, occult, theism, whatever. I have some reaction videos to Superbook, and I'm going to be working with Wonder Lady next.
Yay!
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 And, one thing I would like to plug real quick is Three Black Heathens channel. They have wonderful discussions there, usually on Sunday nights. I would urge everyone to subscribe. I absolutely love their content, and I'll put.
If I were to suggest this particular video, I would definitely plug last night's discussion on gun control and whatnot.
Oh yeah, it was a very good discussion.
Oh my. Okay, is there Avatar, a mushroom cloud, and a few other things going on?
Yeah. Yep.
I was not subscribed to them. I must correct this oversight. There we go.
Yes.
Awesome.
All righty. Thank you for mentioning that. Yay.
My pleasure.
And okay, I guess Lady of All Wonder, how about you?
My channel's called Wonder Lady, and I'm asking questions. I have the Atheist Inquisition, so I have short question videos where I encourage the audience to answer because it's more about your answers than it is about my questions. And you get to define things the way you like, but I'm challenging people right now on various topics, but going to do more on feminism and other social issues. I'm not just an atheist channel, even though atheism is the closest thing that I feel threatened. Um, I that I don't want threatened. You know, I don't want religion to marginalize me.
Okay, this definitely.
And as far as plugging another channel,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I would have to say Flat Out.
I was just looking at some of Flat Out stuff.
He's funny. If you do watch his channel, please start with episode 1 because it is a series. They are very short videos. They are very funny videos. And he's making a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go.
The one video I saw that I absolutely want to watch is him hooking himself up to an equatorial mount.
Yes, that's what he's been doing lately.
Oh my!
Yes.
Because yesterday I watched his celebration of 555 subscribers.
Yeah, he's blowing me out of the water.
Hey, me too, as far as that goes. But
I don't have many subscribers, but I'm trying.
Everybody subscribe to Faye. Come on.
Do it. Do it now.
Do it now.
She is the best.
Oh,
thank you. As a matter of fact,
it's a matter of preference.
Oh, everybody loves you, Faye.
And I prefer Faye.
You're lovable.
Even though I tend to make people mad.
Especially because you make people mad, especially somebody I know that I used to be affiliated with.
That actually wasn't intended, but the reaction to that, I was hoping he'd step up his game.
There's nothing like hearing, "You're pathetic." That's what I think of you. And then click.
Yeah, like literally, I was so like, yes, because all I hear on my end was, she was like, you're pathetic. And, if you want to invite people on and just like that, I was like, oh, he completely shut down after that. That was amazing.
He rage quit his own stream.
His own stream.
Was it my imagination that before I went on, everyone was like, I want to say something to him. I want to say something to him. I go on and everyone shut up.
Yep.
I just...
And here's the... Like, that's why I didn't... I was like, Faye's got this. I didn't bother. I knew you had it.
Here's the best part. You were already challenging him in a side chat, and he invites you into the panel anyway. What did he expect?
Oh, I don't know, that I would bow before the men.
I don't know.
The Christian men.
Faye, we know. You poor feasible women. Y'all are known to hystericals. So please, just just shush. You should have just let him go on with what he was saying and never correct him.
I shouldn't be too mean, but it's too...
If he had a factual argument instead of an emotional argument, he wouldn't have rage quit.
Right? Oh,
I know I
God,
shouldn't be mean,
amazing.
but what are you going to do, right?
Well, that's
I guess
the way
it's part of the...
He asked me my opinion. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Oh,
I mean, He asks a Jersey girl for her opinion. I mean,
Yeah, and
oh
I
well.
didn't even curse him out, so I just said the P word, that's all.
There you go.
Wait, what was it that you said? Pussy?
Pathetic.
Pathetic.
Oh, pathetic. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah,
But I
but
tell
he
you,
truly is.
I truly, truly, truly want to thank you guys for coming on. It's
Thank
been a
you for having us.
wonderful discussion. I mean, we started with one thing, covered a few more, and I think that's probably the way most of these go, and it's always a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And as again, I love to have you on and wanting to do more of these with you guys. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again. And everybody over on the side chat over there, Johnny Drive By and Hans P.S. Hansen and Not a Theist and Christy Santiago and Fred Knotts and everybody over there who's been patiently listening to this and putting up with me. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And I hope you come back for more. And I'll do my best to give you some good stuff. And until we meet again, thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.
Thank
Stay
you.
frustrated.
You just had to get in that stay frustrated.